What is up, everybody? Mr. Hissner here, and today we are going to be expanding on this idea of our conditional statements. We're going to be looking at the inverse, the converse, and the contrapositive of our statements. And in these three um, alterations of the conditional statement, what we are doing is we are going to be using that idea of negation and the idea of a conjunction, right? And so we're going to see if these things, how these things affect the conditional statement. And let's just jump into it. So here we go. So we have what is called the inverse. If you think of, so at the top here, this was our conditional statement was P implies Q, right? And if you think about the inverse of 7, well, the inverse is like the opposite, right? So 1/7 is like an inverse. And also, maybe even you could consider like -7 to be an opposite, right? So when we deal with numbers, we are thinking of this idea that we can kind of invert things to make them opposites, to make them negative. So this would be for multiplication. This is the multiplicative inverse, and then this is the additive inverse. And really what I would like you to focus on is that idea that -7 is the inverse here. We're not going to be dealing with the multiplicative sense. It's going to be more the additive sense. We're going to be, when we invert things, we're going to be thinking about making them negative. Okay, so let's see. The inverse is formed by, and again, this is the negation. The inverse is formed by the negation of, negating the hypothesis and the conclusion. So what our inverse would look like, if this is our conditional statement, we're going to make it negative. We're going to make it negative. So P implies Q becomes not P implies not Q. P implies Q, when after being negated, becomes not P and not Q. Not P implies not Q. If not P, then not Q. Converse. The converse is formed by switching the hypothesis and the conclusion. We are going to just do a swap. So what this would look like if the conditional is if P then Q, then the converse would be if Q then P. All we're doing is giving them a swap. So this would be Q implies P. And then finally, the contrapositive is formed by negating and switching. This is formed by negating and switching the hypothesis and the conclusion. So now we're just going to make this one negative. So notice we have P then Q, negative P then negative Q. Q then P, negative Q then negative P. Really not much. If you know the first one, then inverse, negative of the first, converse means switch, right? And then contrapositive is also like converse, except it's not, it has the word positive in it, and that means that we're going to negate them. So let's look at our example. Let's look at our example. So it says, if it is Saturday, then there is no school. So the inverse, well, let's see. This would be our P, and this would be our Q, and this is P implies Q, right? So the inverse would be not P. So this would be if it is not Saturday, if it is not Saturday, then there is school. And we can examine, like, is that true? So if it's Saturday, then there is no school. But if it is not Saturday, then there is school? No, because there's no school on Sunday. That's no class. No class. No, because there is school on Sunday. there's no school on Sunday. Unless you're going to Sunday school. But we don't teach that at Redland High School. So, if you're going to high school, there's no high school classes on the weekends, right? So none on Saturday, and then we can switch that. So let's look at the converse rather. So the converse is Q implies P, and so what we're going to do is say if there is no school, then it is Saturday. Which again, this is false, right? Because it could be Sunday. This is false. This is false because Sunday. Sunday is real. Like Sunday is existing. So you don't have to really, be in school on some other day. And now let's negate these. So let's do not Q implies not P. So not Q would be if there is school, then it is not Saturday. Then it is not Saturday. And that's true. That's true. If there is school, then it is not Saturday. That is very, very true. So this is the idea here. We are taking our values, and for the inverse, what we're doing is we are negating them. So we are negating. This is not P implies not Q. And then for the converse, we are switching them. This is Q implies P. So just doing a switch there. And then finally, we are negating that switch. So this is what we are going to be doing today. So hopefully, please take notes on this and have these accessible. Thanks for watching.